Hey guys, welcome to a new Markeko Monday. Today we have a pretty short video, but I think we're going to be talking about something that I think it's interesting, and it's really how to maximize your organic reach. I think everybody has been freaking out about the whole Facebook collapsing organic reach, everything going to zero. And I've been talking about it in other Markeko Mondays. There's one for 3 weeks ago if you want to see of why I think organic reach is going to go to zero. But basically, what everybody's talking about is that just throughout time, organic reach has been going lower and lower over the past couple of years, right? And so it's not about quantity, but more about quality, building a community. Facebook just redid the whole, change of the algorithm. And so what I'm going to be talking about today is one, how can you segment your organic reach? And so usually what you do is with audiences, you do niche markets, you segment, and then you launch ads. But there's one thing you can do, and you can actually pick, and really more than picking, I would say, is helping Facebook match your content with your fans, right? And when I'm talking about fans, it's really about the right fans for the right content. Why? Because you might have male, females, you're gonna have people from different countries, different interests, sorry. And so what you want to be able to do is really match the right content with the right kind of fans. And so there's a couple of things that you can do here. And one is you can use this tool, which is called basically just targeting your fans. And so what you're doing here is targeting, or you basically target your fans, right? And so what this does is if I have, let's say, 10,000 fans, usually Facebook picks people that have interacted with you recently, interact with you the most, come back to your fan page. And it's not that it's random, because there's obviously the algorithm works in that way. But what you can do is help Facebook pick a better audience of fans, right? So instead of having a 10,000 user base, what you do is say, well, I want to reach this 1,000 fans that are a much better segment than the 10,000. Why? Because this content might be specifically for female, and I have fans that are male. If they see the post, they're just not going to interact or take an action, right? So what you're doing here is just targeting your fans better with the targeting tool right here. And so when you click on that targeting tool, what this will do is it will open a new window that looks like this. And you have two options here. One is a preferred audience, and two is audience restrictions. And we're going to talk about both. And so the first one, which is preferred audience, what you can basically pick is interest. And so you can basically match your interest, right? So the content. Think about fans, and specifically think about the interests that might be a better match for those fans that are going to have more interaction with the content that you're publishing, right? So what this will do is say, again, from 10,000 fans, this is going to find people who are most interested in one or two or the three interests that you plug here, just like you do with the saved or core audiences, right? So this will find you a better niche market. And the second tool you can use is basically your audience restrictions, right? And so what audience restriction does is it gives you like a second layer of segmentation with demographics. Basically, you have age, gender, location, and languages. So this will do the same thing and the same logic that you're doing with core or saved audiences, right? I have 10,000 fans, And then if I restrict the age for people between 18 to 30, what this will do is find those audiences between the ages of 18 to 30, right? If I just pick female or women because that's what I'm most interested with, then that's going to lower that. And what Facebook will say is, we found, I don't know, 2,000 of your 10,000 fans that are between 18 to 30 and are also women. And so you can use those two tools, preferred audience and audience restrictions, to segment your organic reach. And so how does that look? So for example, with preferred audience, let's say I'm launching something and I want to make sure that people interact with something related with social media. So what I can do here in this example is I place social media examiner, right? So what this will do is grab my fans and find those fans that are really interested in social media examiner, right? How does the audience restriction look like? Same thing, right? I say, well, I want people from 20 to 44, just men in New York that speak English, right? And so what this will do is say, from your fans, we're gonna find people that are 20 to 44 years old, who are male, in the city of New York, and also speak English. And so this will limit and reduce your first organic reach. What Facebook will do is, if you look at this publication or post, it basically looks the same. You still have your text here. You still have your image, right? Everything looks the same, but now Facebook added a targeting box down here. And what this is doing is exactly what we did up here, right? With the preferred audience. So Facebook said, well, we're going to find for interest, social media examiner. And for your audience restriction, right, for demographics, we're going to find people that are between 20 to 44 who are male, English, in New York. And so this is basically reducing your reach. And what I mean by reducing your reach is reducing the potential user base or fans, and helping Facebook just target your users better. Why? Because you have to make sure and you have to understand that even if you have, I don't know, 100,000 fans, you have to segment those fans into different buckets. And you should always do that, right? Why? Because male tend to interact different than women. I could do it by cities or countries. I could do it by interest as well, or I could do it by specific things that make a huge difference between your fans. Because what this will do is that if you put your timeline, right? So time here and the number of interactions here, usually what happens is that in the first couple of hours, Facebook will randomly select people that, based on the algorithm, right? People that have interacted with you recently, recent fans, people that interact with you the most, or people who Facebook thinks is going to interact with your content. So what Facebook is doing here is really optimizing, right? And trying to figure out if this content is relevant for that audience. So what you want to try to do is really try to maximize the impact that you're having in those first couple of hours. So the number of interactions. And you don't want to leave it to luck. What I mean by that is, you don't want to leave up to Facebook to select your reach. You want to guide Facebook to your reach. Why? Because again, if I have 100,000 fans, if I don't select and I don't target them, what Facebook will do is say, well, let's go to your different buckets and find the people that we think are going to interact with your content. But if you already know that this bucket right here is going to interact the most because your content makes more sense with that specific user base of fans, then you want to make sure that you do this. Because what that will do is, it's going to allow you to have a bigger impact on your reach and metrics because your interactions are going up, right? Because you're putting the right content to the right audience. And so this is basically with no targeting, and you want to try to do targeting. Because if you pick the right target, then most likely you're getting more interactions and you're going to have a much higher reach with what you're doing. So hopefully this helps you guys. It's a quick tip that we found useful. A lot of people have been talking about, well, how do you maximize reach then? Then yes, there's strategies of building a community, of not doing, of the different content that you can do so that people talk more, comment more, do long posts as comments as well. But one thing you want to make sure that you do is really target your users better. So again, thanks for listening today. Make sure that you visit our blog. Make sure that you join our Facebook group as well. Follow us on Twitter. Download our study guide. And hopefully I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.